What would you do if you found a giant python trapped inside a log at your workplace? Jake faced a difficult decision: rescue the snake or leave it to its fate. As fear spread among his co-workers, he had to convince them to see nature differently. Would you have acted like Jake or played it safe? Share your thoughts in the comments. The first light of dawn broke over the dense southern forests of the United States, casting golden streaks through the towering trees. Mist clung to the undergrowth, and the soft murmur of a nearby stream mingled with the distant calls of awakening birds. In the heart of this wilderness, hidden within the hollow of a massive, decaying log, lay a giant reticulated python. It had found refuge there for days, the wooden shell serving as a protective shield against the dangers of the outside world. But this fragile piece was not meant to last. From the distance, the deep rumble of truck engines shattered the morning tranquility. A group of illegal loggers and wildlife smugglers emerged from the tree line, armed with chainsaws and axes. They were indifferent to the delicate balance of the ecosystem, focused only on their profit. "Hurry up! Take down these trees before anyone notices," barked a burly man, his voice filled with urgency. The workers revved their chainsaws, sending sharp, mechanical wails through the forest. One by one, ancient trees crashed to the ground. Among the timber, a particularly large and weathered log caught the eye of one of the men. He knocked on its surface, realizing it was hollow inside, then gestured to his crew. "This one's good. Load it up." Unbeknownst to them, within the depths of that very log, the massive python coiled itself tighter, sensing the chaos unfolding outside. The truck rumbled down dirt roads, bouncing over potholes and uneven terrain. The python, though silent and motionless, felt every vibration and shift. The smell of gasoline and sweat filled the air, contrasting starkly with the damp, earthy scent of its former home. On the truck's open bed, one of the smugglers chuckled as he glanced at the pile of timber. "We'll make a fortune off this wood. Maybe we'll even find some critters inside. Those sell well on the black market too." His companion laughed, unaware of the silent predator curled up just feet away. After hours on the road, the truck finally pulled into a lumber mill in rural Texas. Workers swarmed to unload the logs, eager to begin processing. Among them was Jake, a seasoned sawyer with years of experience. He had spent his childhood exploring the wild with his late father, a forest ranger who had taught him to respect nature and its creatures. Though Jake now worked in the lumber industry to make ends meet, he never forgot his father's words. "Every creature has a place in nature. We don't have the right to take their lives for our own gain." "This log looks too old. Should we even bother cutting it?" one worker asked, eyeing the decayed wood. Jake approached, running a calloused hand over its rough surface. He hesitated when he heard a faint rustling sound from within. His instincts, honed by years of working with wood, told him something was off. "Hold on, let me check inside first." Using a knife, he carefully carved out a small opening, allowing light to seep into the hollow space. As the beam of light penetrated the darkness, something moved. Two gleaming, golden eyes flashed open. The log trembled slightly as the hidden creature shifted. One of the workers recoiled in shock. What the hell was that? Jake peered closer, his breath catching as he realized what was inside. "It's a python. A big one." Gasps rippled through the workers. Some took a step back in fear, while others leaned in with curiosity. Slowly, the snake uncoiled, its iridescent scales glinting in the light. It began to push its way through the opening, revealing its impressive length. Over 16 feet of sheer muscle. Jake's mind raced. He knew the python didn't belong here, and the wrong hands could turn it into a commodity for the illegal pet trade. He couldn't let that happen. "We need to get it back to the wild," he said firmly. "Are you crazy?" One worker scoffed. "That thing is huge. What if it attacks us?" "Pythons aren't venomous, and they don't attack humans unless provoked," Jake countered. "If we leave it here, it's as good as dead. We need to do what's right." After a moment of hesitation, some of the workers nodded in agreement. Carefully, they widened the opening in the log, giving the python a clear path to exit. It remained motionless for a few seconds, sensing the fresh air before it began its slow, deliberate escape. As the python emerged, a few of the workers flinched, their ingrained fear of snakes taking over. One of them instinctively grabbed a crowbar, ready to strike. "Don't!" Jake shouted, stepping between the worker and the snake. His heart pounded. He knew that fear often led people to rash decisions. It's just trying to find its way out. "Let be." The worker hesitated before lowering the tool, though his face remained pale. Jake could sense the unease among the group. The python, seemingly aware of the tense atmosphere, paused, flicking its tongue as if assessing the situation. "We're doing something good here," Jake reassured them. "This isn't just some monster, it's a part of the wild, just like the trees we cut. We took it from its home. Let's give it a chance to go back." The massive snake slithered forward, its muscular body wrapping around Jake's arm momentarily before dropping to the ground. It hesitated, lifting its head as if surveying its surroundings. Then, without a sound, it began to move toward the forest on the outskirts of the mill. The workers stood in stunned silence, watching as it disappeared into the undergrowth, melting back into the wilderness where it belonged. Jake exhaled, feeling an unexpected sense of relief. He had spent years felling trees, but today he had saved a life. The incident left an imprint on the workers. The fear that had initially gripped them slowly gave way to understanding. Jake noticed subtle changes in the days that followed. His co-workers became more mindful of the creatures they encountered, hesitant to blindly harm them. One evening, as Jake walked past the edge of the mill's property, he spotted something moving in the distance. The python. It lay stretched beneath the shade of a tree, watching him. For a brief moment, man and serpent regarded each other. Then, just as silently as before, the python disappeared into the dense brush, leaving Jake with an odd sense of peace. As the forest reclaimed the python, he turned to his co-workers and said, "Nature has a way of taking care of its own. Sometimes we just need to step back and let it." From that day forward, the workers at the mill found themselves looking at the trees and the creatures that called them home, with a newfound sense of respect. This story highlights the delicate balance between humans and nature, showing how fear and greed can threaten wildlife. Through Jake's courage and compassion, it reminds us that every creature has a role in the ecosystem and deserves respect. Sometimes, doing the right thing means overcoming fear and choosing to protect rather than exploit the natural world. If you love stories about courage, justice, and unexpected twists, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the button and join us for more thrilling tales every week.